What's up, ladies and gentlemen? chuckfinleLP Crash Bash Part 8. We are here in the first warp room, and this is the first warp room that we will have to go after everything for every level, all of the gems and crystals and relics, because this is the only warp room that I didn't collect a single gem or crystal in, because I had enough to do everything. So I may not be able to get this done in one video. I will try, but because there's quite a bit of things that I have to do and everything, and I don't want to make the video too long, so I'm just letting you know ahead of time that I may not be able to complete it all in one video, but I'll definitely try. But anyway, so here we are. As you saw, this is actually pretty difficult because of how few balls you start out with, and because this is Sky Ball, and that because it is Sky Ball and you start out with, I believe it was 9. It definitely makes it very difficult, and if you're not good at Sky Ball, you'll definitely get this will definitely be very hard for you to do. Just some things to remember. Try not to remember that if this is a circle rather than a square, so it's not a straight line. Be careful when hitting the balls. Try not to run out of kick, because if you run out of kick, you will definitely be in a bad spot. You saw there. Could have just saved myself from losing those 2 balls if I had kick. Lost the ball there because of the angle, and this is a very hard problem, or a very bad problem. Wow, he had 1. That does stink. But anyway, sometimes you will get lucky and you'll do it all in one try, or sometimes you'll have to keep doing it over and over. Again, it really just depends on luck, to be honest, because you do start with so few balls and everything. Because this is a circle, the balls don't line up exactly right like they would if this was a square arena, and just different things like that. Because this is on medium, they don't try quite as hard as they will for the relic and the crystal, which is a good thing, but it is still pretty difficult. This level, even the trophy was difficult. So have to be careful. I'll probably end up losing, but at least I'm not doing too bad. So far, anyway, and it is good to look at it. Like if this was a regular event, if we actually started with 20, I would have only lost 10 there. So I am doing pretty good. And they start out with 15 and everything. So if you look at it like that, you can tell yourself, oh, well, you are doing a lot better than how it seems. It's just, I don't know why they would give you 9 for Sky Balls. They should have gave you 15, like with Inballism. But anyway, there's really nothing I can suggest to make this any easier. Just be careful of your kick. Watch the angle of your ship when you kick a ball. If you have to, run into it at full speed, and that sometimes will save it a lot better than a kick will. If you noticed last round how I'd ran into a couple balls and that seemed to help. If you do that may help. I'm not sure though, so I wouldn't make that a go-to strategy. If you are having trouble with it, but it is something to consider doing anyway. And it looks like Rillaru's gonna last again. Now this is definitely the bad period. No matter just playing Skyballs by itself, whether it be trophy, crystal, gem, relic, whatever it is. That this is always the bad period because you are down so many points to another character, especially to have if they have rarely or haven't lost a whole lot of points. It makes it a lot harder to do. And just remember, your kick does stay out longer than in any other arena, especially the more times you lose it, the longer it will stay out. So you want to be very careful and very precise when you are hitting it as well. That's a good strategy. You always want to be precise when hitting it or when to use the kick. And sometimes they will, there is a glitch that will happen where they will force it in between the engines. Kong and Rillaroo or I guess the guys on the left and right side can sometimes force it in or through the engine and land into your goal. While it's not a very common glitch, but it can happen, and there is nothing you can do to prevent it. You just want to kind of prepare yourself and don't lose too many points. You don't want to go into the event saying, okay, well, I have 9, I can lose so many. Well, not really, because you have to worry about losing them. But anyway, if I do lose again, I will cut to where I beat it, because you've already seen what it is. It's just I've already given a lot of strategies and everything. There's really nothing to show off right now. I could probably just cut from here, but I'll at least give it one more try and see, because the crystal for this is going to be very hard, and for the pogo level here will be difficult as well. Maybe not the gym, but the crystal will be, so I'll probably have to retry those a couple times. That's why I don't want to waste too much time on one event like this, especially if I want to try to fit as many levels in this video as I can. Alright, do apologize. I'll see you in a second. Okay, so I beat it. Just about lost it in the final. Well, it only took me one more round, and I did a little bit better. Rillaroo fell first, then Kong fell, and then Cortex. But I almost lost it, to be honest. In the I had 6 left when Kong fell, and then I just lost a whole bunch right after he died. I lost a whole bunch of points, and it was nothing really special. But anyway, so for the Crystal Challenge, avoid touching the special balls. These balls do not score, so they will not score for your goal or for the other goals. What they are the red balls that we saw in the Oxide fight. If you touch them, they are instant death. That you'll lose all your points, and you'll have failed. And you can see only the enemy AI can activate them. And it's kind of weird if they start. You can kind of see a yellow kick coming out of their, or not a yellow, a red kick coming out of their ships once they start doing the red kick, and they don't red kick every time, but once they start, usually a whole bunch will appear. And because this is Skyball, and because this is a round arena instead of a square, sometimes stuff like that can happen where it'll be right in front of your ship. There's nothing you can do to stop that or to combat it. If that happens, you're you're gonna fail. There's just nothing you can do to stop that. You cannot kick it. You cannot let it touch you. You cannot do anything to it. So you have to be very well. You can't be careful for it. You just have to prepare for it. I guess that's a better thing to say. Just prepare for it. You know, stuff like that'll happen as well. And you just have to, after a while, you know, if you play the event enough times, you'll kind of begin to tell when stuff like that will happen and when you can go to the other side. I should have went to instead of staying to the left side, I should have went to the right side, but, you know, it wasn't a whole lot I could do. I thought it was going to go to the right, but anyway. And if sometimes for quite a while, red balls will just keep appearing. And so no one will score any points, so that will drag it out even longer. And you kind of have to prepare yourself for that as well. And just prepare yourself for a lot of failures, unless you're really good at the level. But even then, you know, you could be the best player at skyballs and still have trouble just because of that one odd thing where the ball gets caught right in front of you by your two posts, and you get stuck there. You know, it gets stuck there and you can't escape it, and just, you know, there's nothing you can do. But anyway, if you do fail enough times, the game will take pity on you, and the difficulty will decrease and make it so that they will not throw quite as many red balls. They will just kind of sit and let the balls go by like Rillaroo has for the past 2 times. They won't really fight for them, which is always good. Again, you know, something like that. I guess you have to be quicker and have better reflexes than I am, but I just keep thinking that it's not going to hit me. You know, if I stay as far right as I can, it won't hit me, but obviously it did. That stinks. I thought that was going to turn into a regular ball. That's going to happen quite a bit, so just, you know, if you do play this level, prepare for it. This is definitely one of the hardest crystals in the game to get, and one of the most frustrating to get as well. Especially if something like that happens, you know, they just keep throwing the red balls and you've already lost 2. And we're not really in that period where the difficulty gets decreased enough because they are fighting back a lot. You know, they're not, and they keep turning balls red. You'll have to lose quite a few more times. I think the minimum is 15, but I'm not 100% sure. It may be less than that, but usually whenever I fail 15 times in a row, the difficulty will decrease, and it'll make it a lot easier to win. And if you notice, sometimes when they do a red kick, it won't register and it won't turn the balls red. If you watch their ship, sometimes you can see the kick, the regular kick come out as blue. The red kick will, when they turn the balls red, will be red. And so you just have to there. If you noticed it with Cortex, Cortex did it. Cortex just did it again. There's really no good. You know, of course, the more people you knock out, the less chance there is of a red ball happening, but there's really no good, you know, outside of just the right side or the sides still being there so that you can dump balls into them. Oh, wow. Uh, Still being there so that you can dump the balls in them, that's really about the only good thing about having, you know, the guy in front get knocked out first. But this really isn't one of those events or one of those regular ball games where you can, where it matters who, that any one certain goal gets knocked out first. I think I already have a challenge as a video with this one. The bad thing is with this is that you play it like it's a regular ball event, and that's why a lot of times that you'll actually try to protect your goals. You know, when there's a red ball around, of course, you know, once you see it's a red ball, you'll think, okay, well, I need to stay away from that. But especially if it's going really fast, like they just keep passing a red ball back and forth, or a group of red balls back and forth, and that's why you don't you see me not immediately move is because of that reason. You know, I think, okay, well, I need to watch my goal, or, you know, I need to protect my goal, make sure that that balls don't get in it, and just, you know, even though red balls don't score, and I know that, it's just in case a stray regular ball gets in there. That's why I have to be careful for it. And it is sometimes good to let a regular ball go by. It's kind of like with the oxide fight as well. Sometimes it's better to let a red ball go by and a regular ball instead of try to dive for the red ball and the silver ball at the same time. But probably should have cut. But that's probably going to be my challenge video: how many times I failed on that challenge. And as long as I don't come up with a better one, and so I would like to keep that as a you know, for a reference that you can watch it and count how many times I failed. But anyway, so this one will be difficult, but it won't be as difficult as some of the. I'm sorry, I got to change my controllers. My controller somehow got set to digital mode, even though this game does start out in analog. No, I don't want to do that. Does start out in analog mode by default, because by then this, you know, the PS2 was about to come out. The PS1 was on the last year of its life, and the analog, the DualShock controller had already been out for about 3 years now, so, you know, that's games from about 1997 onward had the option to go into analog, but it really wasn't until 1998, probably in late 97, but really in 1998 when or not late 1998, but in 1998 when games probably came default in analog instead of digital, like with Crash 2. You know, it has the ability to go analog, but it starts out in digital. until you know you have to change it to make it analog. But anyway, get talking, not pay attention, and end up losing 11 points. But you can just kind of tell, you know, how hard they're actually trying. You know, they fight for the balls. They don't let as many pass. They shoot a lot more towards your goal. The BS things that usually happen because of the disc-shaped arena instead of a square arena seems to kick in a lot more. I like that. You know, I should have been able to hit both of those balls away, but because it's round, I wasn't able to, and that's where the just diving at them instead of, or you know, ramming into them with your ship instead of kicking them might be a better idea. Again, you know, I'm not sure. There we go. Alright, not too bad. There's not really a whole lot to say about this, to be honest. It's kind of pretty much like the trophy, except harder. And you only have to win 2 times instead of 3, but you have to win 2 times in a row, which does make it a little bit harder. Now the Sapphire Relic will be a lot harder than this one, than this relic. All the Sapphires will be pretty much for every event or every arena. And again, there won't be a whole lot to say there, you know, other than just the increase in difficulty and maybe some strategies that you may want to use. There's not a really good strategy for this level. Just, you know, just try to keep the balls away from your goal, ram them instead of hitting kicking them. You know, if they're right beside your ship, that may help a little bit more. I would definitely suggest going after Cortex, because for whatever reason he seems to always be the one that lasts longer. Yeah, I know he didn't last round, but you know, consistently he is the one that stays around the longest. Kong's usually the one to fall first, and then Tiny, but Cortex is usually the one that stays around the longest. So if you can throw more balls towards him, that would be better. In the long run. As you saw there, I tried to kick a ball, but it got kicked right into my goal. That was a ball that I should have just rammed into my ship. But you can see he's kind of like Tiny was last round. He's fighting a lot more than he should, but most of the balls are staying around me, so there's not really you're not really flooding his goal as much as you should, but a little bit better. Probably almost lost it anyway. But happy I'm done with Skyballs for now. It's definitely not. It's not. I don't like it. You know, it does use the crash ball effect of just kicking the ball instead of some extra added gimmick. But the gimmicks that are there, you know, the disc-shaped with the engines falling and all that, I don't like that. So that's why I don't like Skyballs. I don't hate it. You know, a lot of people hate Skyballs, say it's the worst ball game, but I don't. You know, I don't think so. I don't hate it, but I definitely don't like it. I'm glad to be away from it. But anyway, so you know, regular stuff. You just they will try harder. They will shoot you more. Now, as the difficulty increases, they will try to shoot you off your polar bear a lot more than they did in the crystal. They will be harder to knock off, and you have a reduced time limit. So you lose a full minute instead of the other events where, I guess in what was it? Oh, which one was it? I think it was Melt Panic, where you started out with 25, I believe. So this is definitely not the shortest time to get through here, but it definitely is because of how high the level number is, because this is the last polar game. It does make it a lot harder, you know, especially with the decreased time limit. And you want to try to shoot as many people as possible. Of course, you know, shoot Rillaroo and Rillaroo Kong. Try to shoot them first, and then just you can get rid of Cortex a lot easier. But if you can bunch them up, that makes it a lot easier. If you can get like a lightning bolt, that will definitely help. You want to be accurate, though. You know, if you shoot, you just don't want to just grab the thing and shoot. You want to try to get them in a clump like that. But be careful, because they can very easily knock you off. And as fun as this level is, and as easy as this level is, they can actually knock you off pretty easily. Especially, crap. And you want to be careful not to miss, because to be able to beat this in the time limit, you're going to have to make sure that you every time that's available, you want to make sure that you I'm not going to have enough time with this. 2, 1, yeah. Nothing I could do. I think you need about 15 seconds for the lightning bolt, and there was no way I would have been able to get it. I see, if you could get it early on, that would definitely help, or even wait, you know, just to knock out one character. That would be a lot better. The thing is that they will go after you more instead of each other. They won't fight each other nearly as much. As I said, they will shoot you more. They will just target you a lot more in general. So you have to be prepared for that. As I said, try to bunch them up. You know, if you hit Cortex, you hit Cortex. Of course, you want to try and hit the other people first. You want to make sure that if the other characters don't get the thing and don't use it correctly. And see, there you go. You know, Kong waits around just for me so that he can use it. But being Crash also limits you because of the decrease in your kicking ability, or your charging ability. They will charge a lot more than you. Really should try to steal that from Cortex and give it to somebody else, like Rillaroo, because you can just shoot both. Because then I could have shot both Cortex. There we go. Shoot Cortex and Kong like that, but you know, it's whatever. Just glad to be done with that. I knew that would give me trouble, but I didn't expect it to give me that much trouble, to be honest. It is a pretty difficult level. I don't know why. It just is. You know, as fun as it is, and as easy as the trophy is, it's just a very hard gym, I guess, because of the time decrease, and because they will focus on you a lot more than try to kill each other. And that hurts your ability. You know, it's just 1 against 3, and that's really hard to do in 30 seconds. So all we have to do is just start this level on foot, which will make us a little bit faster because we are so small. But that does that limits what we can do. You know, pushing wise, we can't push the other people like they can us. You have to be careful not to be shot. Should take that from Rillaroo, but I'm not going to. It's actually just a lot easier to just run around and shoot the other people. You know, just try to get Kong or whoever's left on foot. Try to get them to attack you head on and then just shoot them. That's not that difficult, to be honest. It's pretty easy once there's just one person left. But because they will attack each other a lot more, you know, Kong threw Cortex off, which makes it a little bit easier. Rillaroo getting hit by the weight helped. So it's not as hard as the gym would be, because they will attack each other a lot more, and because you have the full minute 30. get it done. This will be hard, though, because of Coco. If Coco wasn't here, I would say this would be a little bit easier, but because she is here, it's going to be very difficult. The key, the thing that you want to do first off, get her off of her polar bear. That does... Oh yeah, you want to be careful doing what Cortex did. That's why I say don't attack someone while they're right on the edge. It's never a good idea, but yeah, you want to make sure that you knock Coco off first. While she is very formidable on foot, it's almost like going against Tiny or Kong, because the way that you charge on foot is a little bit different than when you charge on a polar bear. Depending on your size, that will actually increase how much power you can do and how you know how powerful you are. So the bigger you are, the better you will be. Ah, crap! I was trying to hit more than that. I mean, you know, even if you get big, a small character really can't do a whole lot. But an added bonus is that you are you have the ability to move around faster if you're a smaller character. Like if you remember how fast I was moving around, how fast Cortex was moving around, that helps. But it doesn't. But that just kind of helps you run away from the other characters. Like if like Tiny or Kong's coming after you, you can run away from them. You are faster than Cortex, Brio, Crash, Coco on a polar bear. But if they get on foot and they start chasing you, you will have a lot of trouble with trying to get away from them. You know, the smaller the person, the faster and harder it is to run away from them. But anyway, so same thing. You start with 120. They got 90. This is difficult because this is Pogo Padlock. You have to be careful not to step on your own points, so that makes going after points a lot harder. And because you lose a point because the box or the square right underneath the box is not marked like it would be in other events, so that makes it a little bit more difficult. The fact that you can't jump in your own points hurts because you can't fight and go after boxes like you normally would be able to. Something that will help, though, is if you can keep Bouncy Boots away from the other players and steal and take it for yourself. Shooting the other characters will definitely help. You can afford to jump in your own points a little bit more if you don't have a whole bunch of points, or if you're trying to keep some points away from other people. And you can see there just the benefits of shooting the other characters. But it really just depends on who you shoot. You have to be careful and choose your targets carefully. Also, you do have a decreased time limit, so you cannot mess around as much as you would normally be able to if you had the full minute 30. You have to keep that in mind. But yeah, you know, all in all, pretty easy. Definitely helped getting that 34 from shooting Cortex. But the problem with shooting a big number of points is because that decreases your, or you know, getting a whole bunch of points from a character, is because that decreases your movement range. Because where all those squares that you could have jumped in, now you can't, and you want to be careful not to ruin that, especially if they have a whole bunch of points like a 34. But then if you mess around really over here, the only way to color squares is by stealing them from other players. So we don't make points ourselves. We have to shoot the other characters. The only items that will be in this are padlocks and missiles. A bunch of missiles, a bunch of padlocks. No bouncy boots though. You cannot jump in your own squares in this, but they can jump in their own. So if you are trying to go after a big number of points from a particular character, like Rillaroo, and he jumps in his points, well, you lose all of those points. So you do want to be careful. And be mindful of that. You don't want to waste time shooting someone who's just going to end up stepping in his own points anyway. A good strategy is to jump and try to hit boxes, steal the other boxes from the other characters. That will help them from scoring points. They can step in your own squares though, you know, just like usual. So that's why the padlocks are sometimes useful. Crap. Yeah, I messed around trying to shoot Kong, trying to get a few more points, and now Rillaru's gonna pass me. That is one of the problems with this. You do have to be very careful. And be, you know, you don't want to mess around too long going after people. They really don't shoot you all that often, as much as you may think. Ah, crap, I don't think that would have helped if I could have shot Rillaru, but that might have. But yeah, you know, there's really not a whole lot. You just choose people to shoot, find people to shoot and shoot them. That's about the only thing that you can do, to be honest. Steal points from the other, steal the boxes from the other characters, if at all possible. And I guess they are shooting me a little bit more now. It really just depends on if you shoot them, you know, earlier on in a match, and that's kind of the deciding factor whether they will shoot you or not. And it is good to sometimes wait and wait for a character to stand still before you shoot them. You know, because there's really no point in you jumping around. Rillaru's being smart. I'm glad for that. Not trying to waste his points, and now Kong's gonna back himself into a corner, and that really does stink. You know, I was gonna shoot Cortex and try to steal his points, but Kong beat me to it and then ruined them all, and that does stink. And there's nothing you can do to defend yourself from that. You just have to deal with it, and just try to figure out a way to you know, deal with it, as I said. Something that will help is if you can follow the one character that is with you in points, like I was following Kong, trying to steal that box from him. That helps. Shooting Cortex, shooting Kong, doing anything you can to stop the character that is closest to you in points from passing you. If I would have paid attention in the first round and got to Rillaru, if I'd paid attention to and shot Rillaru a little bit more, followed Rillaru a little bit more, that might have helped. I don't know for sure if it would have or not. But things that will help you out with that one: look for big points, shoot the people with big points. Don't use the padlocks all that often, and then just sit around and wait for the other characters to get points. That's about the biggest things that will help you out. You know, if you just sit around and wait because there's no, you know, you're not scoring any points yourself, so it doesn't really matter whether you jump around or not. And if you can kind of time it so that you can steal someone's points, especially if they have a lot of points, that will definitely help. But something that I was saying about for the gym that will help you, and this really applies for every event that's not the crystal, is the if you shoot someone that has a whole bunch of points, you want to be careful and not mess around too long before you cash those points in, because if you mess around for a while, you have especially like if you back yourself into a corner by mistake, that the other characters can jump in your points and ruin them, and you want to be very careful and pay attention to that. And there's nothing that's going to stop Rillaru from scoring those. That hurt. That was 26. I could have definitely used those, but okay. A situation like this where you cannot score any points hurts. You know, there's nothing I can do. I couldn't jump in my own squares to score any points. And you'll actually have a lot of low point close games in Pogo Padlock, no matter what event it is, just because of that fact. You know, you can't gain points like you could in other events. And you can't jump in your own squares, so you can't go after boxes, which means you're not going to score as many points. People shoot in their own; they cancel their points out. So, people shoot each other like that, and you know, they steal your points, And that's one bad thing about trying to score a whole bunch of points, is because they do steal them quite often, especially as the difficulty increases, they will shoot you a lot more. Ah, wow. Here I am with only 30 something, and everyone else has a whole bunch. But Rillaru's really bad about shooting you. I don't know what it is, just something with his AI, it tells them to shoot people, and a whole bunch, and as I said, don't know why. Oh, wow. If I could get his points, that would definitely help, but he just canceled them out, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, Coco's too far ahead of me. This will happen quite often, where you have to just... Yeah, this will happen as well, and this stinks, it's either lose time and waste a whole bunch of time and potential points that you could have made up, or just sit there and wait and try to score the points anyway. It's a hard thing to choose between, and just something that you have to deal with. Wow, really? Oh, come on. Didn't mean to jump in them, but it's a lot more satisfying than letting Coco score anymore. Definitely say I don't like Pogo Padlock, just because of that aspect. The AI characters being able to jump in to steal your own points, and then again jump into them and waste them, and that's pretty much what it is, just wasting them for no reason. That definitely stinks. And situations like that, I got caught by Coco and got shot. There's nothing that I could have done to save myself in that situation. I had to deal with it. Ah, really? If I don't hurry up, I'm not gonna get it anyway, but at least I can pretend like I tried. Come on, Rillaroo, let me get some. Oh, of course. That's the worst thing, when a box appears right out of reach where you can't get it. That stinks. That stinks even more. I hate going up against Rillaroo in these things. I don't know why. His AI is just the best for these events. I should have just stopped. You can jump in place. That's something that I have neglected to mention. You can jump in place, but you just cannot. You just can't score. Or I mean, you can't jump back into a place that you already marked. Speed shoes definitely will help you out. It'll make things go by a lot quicker. This is one of those situations I was talking about, where you just have to kind of end up just shooting or jumping in your own points just to score some more points, instead of just waiting for a big amount of points, especially because the speed shoes that the other characters use, there ain't no point in me continuing on in this level, or for this round. I'm just gonna end up losing. Ah, crap. I don't know why I jumped forward for. I guess I thought Dingo had jumped there and I would have been safe. just like making small points like 12s and 13s and around the 10 to 16 range is a pretty good area for points. Any higher than that, and that just kind of takes too much space up on the arena. And if you can just make small lines, like fill up a full section, like a bottom row or you know, like one of the sides or something like that, that's better than just hopping around haphazardly and not doing anything, or could potentially lose your points. I'm already high enough. I don't need to just assume that I'm okay, because I've seen Rillaroot and Coco catch up very, very quickly before, especially if they get a whole bunch of points. The highest I've ever seen the AI go is 118. This is actually, I believe, I think I might have won 150 something once here before, but I rarely will get over 80. Oh crap, oh no, I guess I got Coco's points, I can jump in. I've rarely seen the, I usually won't break 100, or I'll just barely break 100. It's very, very rare for me to actually get over 100 in an event like any event really for Pogo Padlock. But something that will help is if you can just keep scoring, use the speed shoes and just keep scoring a whole bunch of points really early on. Padlocks, as I've said before countless times, they do not work. They are useless. Do not use them. They just slow you down for no. Well, the padlock itself won't actually make you go slower. It's just compared to a speed shoe or a pair of bouncy boots, that you could use. You could make a lot more ground up than keeping your points, a handful of points safe. This is again one of those sections where I was talking about, you want to be careful. You can see everyone is scoring a whole bunch of points. As I've said before, if you can get over 125, you should be okay. As I've said, I've only seen the AI go up to 118, but I'm sure they can go higher than that. Especially, if you can get Crash. I think I may have seen Crash go 125 before. I'm not 100% sure though. That might have been yeah, I guess that was Crash. Yeah, okay, so I have seen Crash go up to 125 before. So anything over 130 you should be okay. As long as you're not fighting Crash, I would definitely say try to go up higher, but anyway. So pretty much just like all the other gym events, things will hurt them less, hurt you more. Even the special items that you find in the crates, those will hurt the AI less, and they will hurt you more if you do find them. Boxes are completely useless. The wooden crates are useless anyway, but they're even more useless with the crystal, or with the gem. You really just want to go after the items in the crates, and they will go after the items in the crates more. They will tend to waste them though. As you saw what Cortex was doing, he was just kind of firing off at people who had already been hit for no reason. It's smarter to wait and save them, but they're the AI. What do you expect? And you almost want to say, okay, well, you just go ahead and if the AI does get an item, go ahead and use it and see if they will hit the other AI characters first. But that doesn't work out all that often, to be honest. I've actually got hit more times than the AI does, especially with the homing shots. You just want to shoot, let them fly and hit whoever they may. The rockets are really not that accurate. But if you can suicide, do a suicide run on the any crate really, especially if you have low or high health, if you haven't been damaged all that much, that's good. You can do it against the wooden crates a number of times, especially even if you have a lot of damage, and that won't really hurt you all that often really. But you just want to be careful with the TNTs, because the TNTs are a lot more effective than they are in any other bash game, so you want to be careful. Alright, so be careful how you open the special crates. For you, they will be nitros. If you spin one, you will die immediately. So what you have to do is you have to pick it up and then throw it before you can use it, so you want to be very careful. That does leave you open to it being, people getting it before you do, so you want to be careful. I would suggest just staying away from them altogether. But if you have to, for like Wumpa Fruit, the Wumpa Fruit in these crates are a lot more powerful than the Wumpa Fruit that you find just lying around. So if you want to use them for the Wumpa Fruit, you can. It's actually not a very bad idea. But you want to be careful, because you can actually throw these out of the arena. And if you throw one out of the arena, it will just blow up. You'll waste whatever was inside of it, so you want to be careful. And again, with the Wumpa Fruit will actually will actually heal them more than it will you. Just Wumpa Fruit in the boxes. The Wumpa Fruit on the ground will still do the same thing that the Wumpa Fruit on the ground has done forever, for every event. But because you can't spin into them, that makes it a little bit harder. You have to take the time it takes to pick the box up and then throw it, and that does slow you down quite often. But the relic will definitely be a lot easier. But because the difficulty of the boxes will hurt you more, hurt them less. The items in the boxes will hurt them more, hurt them less, hurt you more. Same thing with the, just like every other event with the damages. But because you can spin into the boxes, that makes it a little bit easier, I guess. But anyway. You can see there the wooden crate when I hit Brio with it, it was utterly useless, and that's pretty much what it is. It's just useless. I mean, it doesn't hurt you all that much, really, but it still does hurt, but it just hurts them less. And you can actually jump around the rockets. I mean, you've seen the AI characters dodge them just because of range, but you can actually jump and run in between the boxes, or the rockets. And something that you want to be careful of with Brio, he seems to always want to heal him, or he will heal himself a lot more often than any other character will. So you want to pay attention to that, and obviously try to make sure that it doesn't happen. And yeah, it's you definitely want to utilize your spin, because you can spin and they can't. You definitely want to use that to your advantage as often as you can. Just pay attention if one of the AI characters does get one of these special items in the crates. You want to pay attention to what item it is. Yeah, using the rockets is pretty much useless, to be honest. It doesn't work all that, or the rockets don't work all that well. Spinning TNTs into the AI characters definitely works a lot better than doing almost anything else. And there you go, not too bad. Definitely pretty easy. Not too difficult. It is a little bit, but once you figure out what you can use to damage the AI characters, it definitely makes it a lot easier. Oh, but anyway, I guess I'll go ahead and end it here. These will be kind of difficult to get through, especially the Christopher Jungle Fox, the the Relic for Toxic Dash, and maybe the Christopher Ringding will be difficult. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. Thank you for watching. The challenge of the video is how many times did I fail in the during the Crystal Challenge of Skyball. Thank you for watching. In the next video, we will finish out the 4th warp room, and then we will go into the 5th warp room and see what we can do there. So until then, later, everyone.